Get ready. It's Chrissy's life. It's mommy's time. Yes, talk about it. Yes, talk about it. It's Chrissy's life. It's mommy's time. Yes, talk about it. Yes, talk about it.
Subscribe, join the fam for some sit-downs, vlogs, chatting with Chrissy, and of course, Chrissy Cooks.
Go, mommy. Go, mommy. That was fun.
Hey, what up, fam? Thank you for joining me for another episode of Chrissy Cooks. I have copped me a new toy for my kitchen, and it is the crock pot pressure cooker. Now, let me get in close so you guys can see what this little baby does here. As you can see, it browns, sears, sautés, slow cooks. It simmers, boils. It even makes yogurt. It keeps your food warm. It does have a delay start timer. You can start and stop it with that button. You can manually pressurize it. You can change your temperature and your pressure up or down. On the other side, it gives you the option to cook meat, stew, poultry, beans, chili, soups, broths, even makes rice and grains, desserts, and it also steams. Now this thing right here, I've had it in my kitchen, I want to say for a couple of weeks now, and it actually is wonderful. No, this is not a sponsored video, but I'm now showing you the lid to this thing where you can open and close the valve for the steam, and the inside does remove. The only problem that I have with this, and it's probably operator error, is the simple fact that I can never align the grooves to open and lock it. As you can see, I'm struggling right here to get the grooves to line up so that I can show you that it locks. All right, there you go. So you can lock it, and once it's locked and it's pressurized, it will not allow you to open until the pressure decreases. Now once you plug it in, it does come on, and you're just going to program it. Today I'm going to show you how I make a roast in this pressure cooker. I went ahead and chose to do the sear or the saute. You can either use the sear or the saute mode for this, and I'm going to show you that this is a one pot wonder here. Now I have my roast here, and I'm just taking a paper towel. I'm going to dab it off and make sure that all the moisture on the outside is removed, and that way it ensures that my seasonings will stick to my meat. You don't want a lot of liquid because your seasonings won't stick. Now go ahead and season your meat with whatever you like. Right now I am using the seasoning called Slap Your Mama. That is a wonderful seasoning for anything. I'm going to go in with a little bit of garlic. Like I said, whatever you choose to season your meat with that gives you the best flavor, do it whatever you like. Right here I'm going in with some black pepper. And some onion powder. Now go ahead and take your hands and press those seasonings into that meat. Don't be afraid to touch your meat. So just go ahead and press it in, And then we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. Just flip it over and go ahead and season the other side as well. Don't skimp on the seasonings, you guys. Go ahead and liberally season this meat. You want to embark as much flavor as you can into your roast. Go ahead and press that in as well. And if you are enjoying this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And on your way out of this video, when it's over, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of these types of videos. I'm going to go ahead over to my crock pot, and I'm going to add a little bit of oil in there just to get this roast started. It is hot, and I wish you could hear it. It is sizzling, or you might be able to see it sizzling, and you want to go ahead and caramelize the outside of this meat. What that is doing is it's sealing in all of the juices and the moisture into your meat. Now you see me flipping it over, and you want it to look just like that. Not only are you going to do both sides, you're going to do the sides. Not only are you going to do each side, you're going to do all sides. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to try to prop this up just for a second for it to sit there. And then once it sits, I'll just let it sit there and caramelize on that side as well. Then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing to the opposite side. Once I'm satisfied with my sear, I'm going to go ahead and remove my meat. And by no means is this meat done. By no means is this meat done. I'm just going to sit it to the side on this aluminum foil pan, and I'm just going to let it rest. Now back to the crock pot pressure cooker. All of those juices and oils that's left over, I'm going to use those to go ahead and cook down a little bit of onion. Now my younger kids do not like onions, so I'm going to use chopped onions. You are more than welcome to use sliced onions. If I was doing it for just the adults in the household, I would use, sliced onions, but the twins do not like onions at all, so if I cook them down, they won't be able to see them. So I'm going to go ahead and use the tongs that I had to remove the meat and just move those onions around and let them cook for just a few minutes just to get them going. Now I'm going to go in with about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of garlic. Now I am a garlic lover. If you are not, you can go in with less or none at all, but I would suggest you use garlic. Now once your garlic becomes fragrant, it takes about 15 to 20 seconds depending on how high your heat is. This is pretty hot, so it's only going to take a second. Once it becomes fragrant, then you want to start to add other things. You don't want to burn your garlic because it will give you a very bitter flavor. Now I'm going to go in with some beef broth. I was about to say turkey broth. With some beef broth, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to empty the entire container in. I'm going to go ahead and just move that around for a second just to make sure that the onions, excuse me, my throat, that the onions and the garlic are not sticking to the bottom. I just wanted you guys to take a look at her. Ain't she pretty? Ain't she cute? All right, now back to the pressure cooker. We're going to go in with about a teaspoon of soy sauce. You can add Worcestershire or the W sauce if you like. I did not have any on hand, and I would suggest you add about a tablespoon of that if you have some. Now I'm gonna go in with about a tablespoon of rosemary. I'm gonna take it and rub it in my hands while I empty it into the pressure cooker, and that is just to wake up the aromas of the rosemary. Just to wake it up a little bit. And I'm gonna do the same with thyme, the same amount, about a tablespoon. Once you have that in, go ahead and move that around as well. Now we're going to add our meat back to the pressure cooker. She's going to lay there for a little while. We're going to put our pressure cooker on high. We're going to go and make sure you see that. Dump those juices back into that pressure cooker because that is flavor. Dump it back in there. If your meat renders any juice, just go ahead and pour it back in there. But we're going to go ahead and put our pressure cooker on high temperature and pressure for 50 minutes. Once again, it's going to be on high for 50 minutes on the meat and stew button. So we're going to push the meat and stew button and we're going to close the vent. And we're just going to leave it. Now, after 50 minutes, we're going to go ahead and add in our vegetables. Of course, we're going to let that vent. We're going to let it vent, but we're going to open the vent up so it can vent quickly, so that we'll be able to open it up. My family loves potatoes, so I did add some more potatoes. I have the baby potatoes, the purple and the red, and then I have some bigger potatoes that I cut up. So I'm just going to go ahead and move them around, kind of submerge them, if you will, in the juice so that, they can cook quickly. So our 50 minutes is up. We open up the lid once we vented it, and now we added our vegetables, and we're going to put the lid back on, and we're going to cook it again on high for 4 minutes. Now 4 minutes worked for me. If 4 minutes did not work for you, then you can remove your meat, and then you can go ahead and boil your vegetables without it. But look at it, y'all. Look how tender that roast is. Just pull apart tender. The potatoes are done, the carrots are done, everything is done, and it smells amazing. Amazing. Now what I'm going to do, I like to have my gravy thickened. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons to a tablespoon and a half of flour. Now I would suggest you use cornstarch, but I didn't have any, so I used the next best thing, and that is flour. And I'm going to add some of the juice from the pressure cooker into the bowl so that I can thicken up my juice to make a gravy. Now I did start off with a fork, and then I had to go back in with a whisk because that fork wasn't doing it for me. I did make a bit much, so I did not use it all. I did pour some of it in and stir it around and let it cook for about another minute or so until it thickened. And that right there is the ending result. A flavorful, very tender roast. I did cook some cabbage along with it, and those potatoes, I could have ate the potatoes and the carrots all by themselves. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this episode of Chrissy Cooks. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you guys on the next video. Until next time, peace.